Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inshallah, today we'll finish off module 3 and hopefully move on to module 4. Sheikh Alam Ghair, in the last lesson we had read this small paragraph. Inshallah, you can read it again, translate it for us, and then we'll go through the questions, and that will also serve as a form of revision for the whole module. So, Bismillah.
أحمد يسكن في شقة جميلة. الشقة في حي المطار. الشقة في الدور الثالث. في الشقة 5 غرف. في غرفة النوم سرير. في غرفة الجلوس أريكة. في المطبخ فرن. في الحمام مرآة.
أحسنت. So translate for me, Ahmadu.
Ahmad lives in a beautiful flat.
Ahsant, hold on. So
the flat.
Hold on. Every sentence I want to mention something. So notice how Ahmad, we're speaking about a he. So they used yaskunu. They didn't say Ahmadu askunu. No, they said Ahmadu yaskunu. He is living. Fi inside. Shaqqa. Notice how shaqqatin, it's got a kasra, right? And the descriptive or the description after shaqqatin to show it's beautiful also got 2 kasras. Shaqqatin jamilatin. Okay, just bear that in mind. Carry on.
The flat, the flat is in the area of airport or in the district of airport.
Ahsans, hold on. So now slowly we're going to start picking out little differences, and eventually I'll teach you why there's differences. Notice how here it's shaqqatin, and notice how this is a new sentence and it starts off ash-shaqqatu. What made this 1 dhamma and what made this 2 kasras? Inshallah, we'll take that. I just want you to start noticing these things, bearing in mind why is it there shaqqatin, why here is it ash-shaqqatu. Carry on.
The flat is at the 3rd level or at the 3rd floor.
Carry on.
And the flat consists of 4 rooms.
5 غرف is how many?
Okay, the flat consists of 5 rooms.
Ahsant.
It has a room, it has a bedroom, it has a sitting room.
No, hold on. في غرفة النوم سرير means?
Oh, okay. Yeah. In the bedroom there is a in the bedroom there is a
bed.
in the sleeping room there is a bed. In the sitting room there is a sofa. In the kitchen there is a in the kitchen there is an oven, and in the washroom or toilet there is a mirror.
Ahsan. Now notice how I'm going to teach you this, and later on you'll take it in more detail. Notice how here is fi. Fi means in. Notice how here again, second time is fi, means in. Notice how here, fi, 3rd time, in, fi. That's not my point. My point is, every word that's coming after fi has got a kasra. Fi shaqqatin. Fi hayyi. Notice how there's a kasra there. Fi dawri. Fi shaqqati. They're not saying fi shaqqatu. They're saying fi ghurfati. Fi ghurfati. Fi al-matbakhi. Fi al-hammami. So from this, what you derive is that, isn't I told you about there's a ism, a noun, there is a fi'l, a verb, and then there's a harf, right? Harf is neither an ism nor a fi'l. It's neither something you name with, nor is it a verb. So these are come under what's called huruf. There's different type of huruf. Harf, singular, huruf, plural. Now, the fact that this fi is harf, and it gives the next word a kasrah always. There's fi, and it's got its sisters. For now, what I just want you to know, anything that comes after fi will have a kasrah. Sometimes it will be 1 kasrah, and sometimes it will be 2 kasrahs, depending on the type of word it is, whether it's general or specific. So bear that in mind. And fi comes under huruf. Right. Let's go. Ajib. أجب means answer. I'm going to ask you, you answer full sentences. هل يسكن أحمد في شقة؟
أحمد يسكن في شقة.
أحسنت. And if somebody is asking you, say هل. If somebody's asking you a هل question, say نعم, yes. Because they're saying, does Ahmed live in a flat? You can say Ahmed lives in a flat, or better to say, clearer to say is yes, Ahmed lives in a flat. So نعم أحمد يسكن في شقة. Notice how. Remember when I told you about جملة اسمية and جملة فعلية? I said that if the sentence begins with a noun, it's called جملة اسمية. So if we had to say أحمد يسكن في شقة, that would be جملة اسمية. And here, if you had to begin with a verb, one way of taking it is if you could say يسكن أحمد في شقة, and that would be generally جملة فعلية. And we'll take that in more detail. For now, that's your general rule. Next, هل يسكن في حي المطار؟
نعم أسكن في حي المطار.
Not you. They're talking about أحمد. هل يسكن يعني هو.
هل هو. نعم هو يسكن في حي المطار.
أحسنت. هل الشقة في الدور الخامس؟
الشقة في
Say نعم الشقة في الدور الخامس. Or is it?
نعم الشقة في الدور الخامس.
So what's the third sentence? الشقة في الدور.
الشقة في الدور الخامس.
Read again. الشقة في الدور الثالث.
Okay.
So your answer to this question, if they say هل, does, you say لا. الشقة في الدور الثالث. Okay, carry on. كم غرفة في الشقة؟
في الشقة 5 غرف.
أحسنت. أين الفرن؟
الفرن في المطبخ.
أحسنت. They're asking you where is the oven. وأين المرآة؟
المرآة في الحمام.
وأين السرير؟
السرير لغرفة النوم.
They ask you أين, so you say السرير في, huh?
السرير في غرفة النوم.
Okay. You'll learn later on مضاف مضاف إليه whether this will be معرفة نكرة, but just take it as it is. So you say السرير في غرفة النوم. Okay. So don't say في الغرفة النوم. Say في غرفة النوم. وأين الأريكة؟
الأريكة في غرفة الأريكة في الأريكة في غرفة الجلوس.
أحسنت. And then they want you to practice جيم. They want you to write it out. You can fill that in. And then they want you اكتب في الدائرة الحرف الذي تبدأ به الكلمات. Basically telling you to write جيم and خاء and حاء. Then they want you to teach you again اكتب الحرف الناقص في كل كلمة. So here you would put a خاء, مطبخ مطبخ, ثلاجة, you would put a جيم. Then again, this all writing exercises. You can do those. Again, writing exercises mainly. And then you get to the next module. Before we start this module, I just want to go over module 1, التحية والتعارف, your greeting and introductions. Module 2 was الأسرة, the family. Module 3 was? What was module 3? السكن. Well done. A second. So notice how you've picked up sentences, you've picked up new vocab, and you're slowly learning how to make complete sentences. Now here they tell you الوحدة الرابعة الحياة اليومية. حياة means life, يومية, daily. So basically daily life. They're going to teach you how to describe and how to speak about things you generally do daily. Okay? Before we get into that, let's go to our teacher's notes at the beginning to say what do they want us to achieve from this module. So you come here, الحياة اليومية. So here you're going to learn السؤال عن الوقت. You're going to learn to ask about the time. Then you're also going to learn about وسيلة المواصلات. وسيلة is a means. مواصلات here is referring to transport. واصلة or مواصلة. For a person to reach somewhere, it comes from wasala. So these trains and aeroplanes and cars and bicycles, etc., help you to reach. So you just call it a mode of transport. Then al-utlatu wa anshitatuha. Utla is a holiday. Some people also say ijaza. And anshita, it's activities. Then al-istifham, you're going to learn how to ask a question with certain words. So before you learned hal and ma and man, now you're going to learn mata and aina plus fi'l mudari'. So before when you were learning aina, you were using a noun. You were saying aina sa'dun, where is Sa'd? Now you're going to learn with aina and a verb, and then you're also going to learn how to negate. So an-nafi. Nafi means where you're saying that this did not happen. Okay, right? Then you got al-istiqbal. Istiqbal is like to welcome somebody. Then you got plus الفعل المضارع وماذا والسين. Oh, sorry, السين للاستقبال. They're referring to seen for the future, but the word استقبال does come from that. So seen, and you can use sofa. They'll show you the differences with those, inshallah. And then you've got some vocab. مفردات عن النشاط اليومي. الأعداد الترتيبية من الأول إلى الخامس للمذكر. Okay. And at the end of the book, as I've told you before, if you go to that last table, you've got your vocabulary in order. It's always good to pass these notes, especially you know how to use them, you know how to read them. It's good for revision, and they summarize a lot for you. Right, let's get into it. Hayatul Yawmiyah, you can see someone performing salah, they're drinking tea or coffee. There's a clock, alarm clock, normal clock, whatever it may be. Right. You can be, I'll be Tariq, and you can be Tahir. So I'm going to start. متى تستيقظ؟
أستيقظ عند الفجر.
أين تصلي الفجر؟
أصلي الفجر في المسجد.
هل تنام بعد الصلاة؟
لا أنام بعد الصلاة.
ماذا تفعل بعد الصلاة؟
أقرأ القرآن.
أقرأ القرآن. I want you to get used to reading all these harakat at the end. Later on, when you understand why it's Qur'an and not Qur'an, no problem. But for now, it's good practice and you'll learn why. ومتى تذهب إلى المدرسة؟
أذهب الساعة السابعة.
هل تذهب بالسيارة؟
لا أذهب بالحافلة.
Excellent. Go to the vocab, then we'll translate that. So look here. Yanamu means he's doing what here? What's he doing here? Yanamu.
Rest, sleep.
Sleeping. And yastayqidhu, you can see that's the complete opposite. What's he doing there?
Is waking up.
He's waking up. Ahsan. So you've got Yanamu, he's sleeping. Yastayqidhu, he's waking up. Notice how the ya is speaking about him. If you have to say anamu, means I'm sleeping. Astayqidhu means I'm getting up. Look at yadhhabu means he is going. As-sa'atu as-sabi'ah, 7 o'clock. Sayyarah, here is a car. Hafila, a bus. And generally they also use the word these days. They'll say bas with a sad. Then you got madrasa is the school. So let's go back to our conversation. Translate it. Translate for me. I'll read the Arabic, you translate. متى تستيقظ? What does that mean?
So are you awake?
What? So mata is a new word for us. We're taking mata means when. When.
Okay.
Mata sa'a. When is the hour? They asked the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Yeah, mata tastayqidhu. When do you wake up? Ay, what time? Astayqidhu inda al-fajri. means I wake up at Fajr time.
The Fajr time.
Then he asks أين. Notice how he's saying we, and then that fi'l mudari' is there. Fi'l mudari' means the verb that's in the present or the future tense. He's asking him, where do you perform Salatul Fajr? أصلي الفجر في المسجد. I perform Salatul Fajr in the masjid. Then he asks, هل تنام بعد الصلاة? Do you sleep after Salah? Then he says, لا. Remember they said they want to teach us nafi. So nafi means to negate, to say no, that didn't happen. So he's saying لا. لا أنام بعد الصلاة. I do not. If you had to say yes, he did, he would say نعم أنام بعد الصلاة. Yeah, he says لا. لا أنام بعد الصلاة. Okay? So you're learning how to use that لا. ماذا تفعل بعد الصلاة? What do you do after الصلاة? أقرأ القرآن. I recite the Quran. ومتى تذهب إلى المدرسة? And what time do you go to the مدرسة? أذهب الساعة السابعة. I go at 7 o'clock. هل تذهب بالسيارة? Do you go with the car? لا. He says no. أذهب بالحافلة. I go with the bus. Any questions?
Here he used
Yeah.
هل تنام بعد الصلاة. هل تنام بعد الصلاة.
صلاتي.
Yeah, هل تنام بعد الصلاة. He didn't use هل ينام. هل تنام. The
So
ta
that,
is because of the صلاة.
no, that is because he's speaking to you. So he says, if I had to ask you, if I'm speaking to you and I want to ask you, do you live in the university district? Do I say, هل يسكن أنت? Or do I say, هل تسكن? Meaning
هل
speaking to you.
تسكن.
So Tariq is sitting there with Tahir and he's asking him, he's telling him, هل تنام? Or ماذا تفعل? He's speaking about you in front of him. If the person was absent then and he's asking about him to someone else, he'll say, هل ينام? Does he sleep? You understand?
Yeah.
So you get used to those, inshallah. Then you've got a tadrib. So here, what they slowly starting to get you into is to understand and answer the question. So here they're saying, من يستيقظ عند الفجر, which means, man means,
Who?
and min means,
Yeah.
min means from.
من is from. من أين أنت?
Min أين أنت? From, yeah. So man means who. Man يستيقظ, who wakes up at the time of Fajr. So answer me. Man يستيقظ عند الفجر. If you need to go back to your exercise, go back. See?
Yeah. أستيقظ
No,
عند الفجر.
no. So they asking you, the student now. They saying from this role play that you read.
طاهر.
So full
Yeah.
sentence.
طاهر يستيقظ. طاهر يستيقظ عند الفجر.
طاهر. نعم. أحسنت. أين يصلي الفجر? Where does he perform Fajr? Tell me.
طاهر يصلي. طاهر يصلي الفجر في المسجد.
أحسنت. هل ينام طاهر بعد الصلاة؟
لا ينام بعد الصلاة. لا ينام بعد الصلاة.
أحسنت. ماذا يفعل بعد الصلاة؟
يقرأ القرآن.
متى يذهب إلى المدرسة؟
يذهب الساعة السابعة.
أحسنت. ما شاء الله. Well done. كيف يذهب means how. كيف how, like كيف حالك, how are you? كيف, how does he go?
يذهب بالحافلة.
أحسنت. Now notice how the questions, now they're asking you some questions. They're saying متى تستيقظ أنت? When do you wake up? So you answer.
أنا أستيقظ. Okay. Are you asking the question? No.
Yes.
Yeah. So أستيقظ عند الفجر.
أحسنت. وأين تصلي الفجر؟
أصلي الفجر في المسجد.
ماذا تفعل بعد صلاة الفجر؟
أنا يقرأ القرآن.
Notice how you said ana and you said yaqra'u. We said ana goes with alif. Ana aqra'u al-Qur'ana.
أنا أقرأ القرآن. Yeah.
Right. Then you got the next role play. Inshallah, we'll leave that for the next exercise because I want to get you familiar with something right now. I'm going to share my board. See my board? So you must get into the habit of drawing tree diagrams, especially if they make sense to you, because they help to study. So when we started with our Arabic, we said we've got here, look here, we said we've got ism, and from the first module to about the third, we were mainly concentrating on this. Then we said we got fi'l, which are verbs, ism is a noun. And then we said we got harf. Harf is neither ism nor fi'l, right? And some people try to give the proper English terminology for all these. There's no harm in that. Personally, I feel that learning all that terminology actually confuses a person. Learn it as the Arabic, learn it as an ism, as a fi'l and harf. It will be easy for you, inshallah. You won't be confused. So we were mainly speaking about an ism, right? What's a noun? Then we went to fi'l. Obviously, we know verbs, you got past tense, present tense, future tense. We were mainly talking about present/future. Imagine that I wrote the present and future, okay? Now, what I'm going to say next is pertaining to this here. It's pertaining to this, okay? We're not talking about this. We're not talking about this. And we're not talking about this. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that okay? Right. So, bearing in mind that you're coming from fi'l here. Fi'l. Verb, right? A verb is a word to show that somebody is carrying out an action. Okay? He's reading, he's writing, he's performing salah, making wudu, etc. Okay? And we generally said he could be doing it, you could be doing it, I could be doing it, we could be doing it, could masculine, could be feminine, etc. So generally we've learned, for example, usalli. Take usalli. And we learned another example. Huh?
This is the first one is would be right.
يقرأ. Let's say يقرأ. Okay, let's say يقرأ.
Yeah.
يقرأ. يقرأ. Take these two for now. What does أصلي mean?
I pray.
I pray. So notice how this word here, أصلي, is giving you two pieces of information. It's giving you the action. The action is salah, right? And it's telling you who's doing it, the doer, right? Who is doing it? So here you would call this this word, this salah that's derived from this meaning, okay? You would call it a fi'l, right? It's referring to the action, okay? The action is salah. Here, what's the action? The action is reading, okay? Reading. Man, I wrote there reading, right? And who did it? He did it.
He did.
He did it. He did it. So now this is going to be very simple. So when you're speaking about verbs, right? You've got the action, which is called the fi'l. You've got the person doing it, this guy, yeah, who? He's called the fa'il. Fa'il means the doer, okay? And take this as a golden rule. Your fa'il is always has a dhamma. It's called marfu', okay? So for example, if you say that Sa'ad is reciting the Quran, you can never say Sa'dan yaqra'u or yaqra'u Sa'dan. Never, ever, ever. Why? Because he's the doer, and your golden rule is the doer will always have Dhamma. Okay? Right. Now, sometimes your sentence makes sense if you tell us about the action as well as the doer. Sometimes it's not enough. We want to know that this action that he's carrying out, so I am reading, for example, let's say this book here. أقرأ, from قرأ, the fi'l means reading. Who's doing it? أنا. أقرأ, I'm reading. What am I doing? I'm reading the book. Now, it won't sound as practical in English, but if you understand this concept, this will become very easy. You've got an action, you've got the doer of the action, and this person is doing the action, he's carrying out the action on something. The action is falling onto somebody or something. Okay? So in this instance, if I'm reading a book, say, يقرأ, let me write in a different color here now. Al-kitaba. Right? Al-kitaba. Al-kitaba. This is called maf'ul bihi. Maf'ul bihi. Okay? So notice how maf'ul bihi, the thing or the person whom the action is falling on, it's being done to, will have a fatha, also known as mansub. So in a nutshell, you're slowly going to get used to it. You've got the fi'l, which is your verb. You've got the fa'il, which is the doer of that action. And you've got maf'ul bih, the one whom this action was done on. Could be a person, could be a thing. So here, يقرأ الكتاب, يقرأ القرآن, يصلي الفجر. Okay?
Yeah. The
right.
fa'il, the fa'il is reading. The fa'il is يقرأ, he, and whenever, and there will be dhamma always at the end.
So you always, you hold on a second. A fa'il will always have a dhamma. Now, when it comes to this fa'il, okay, so we're going to go a little bit deeper. When it comes to fa'il, right? We're talking about this doer here. Here we said it's he, and here we said it's I. So we're talking about this guy here. Okay, fa'il. Sometimes your fa'il may be a noun. It may be a person. So for example, Sa'dun, you're never going to say Sa'dan, right? Sometimes it may be a dhamir. It may be a he or who or she, etc. It may be inside the verb, and we'll take that, don't worry. Or it may not be, okay? So your fa'il, it could be something apparent, or it may not be apparent. You'll have to learn and find it. So for example, if you say, يقرأ سعد القرآن. يقرأ is the fi'l. The fa'il, sorry, the doer is Sa'd, right? Sa'dun, and al-Qur'ana maf'ul bih. ضرب means to hit. They always give these examples. ضرب زيد عمرا, which means Zaid, because he's got dhamma. He's the doer. Zaid hits Amr. Amran. Now, the minute, if you had to say ضرب زيدا Amrun, and in Arabic you're allowed to interchange, you're allowed to put the doer before the one who's being done to. They call it the subject in English and the object. Okay, subject the one doing it, object the one who is being done to. You can change their order. So how would a person know? According to your harakat on the end. So if you had to say, notice how just changing it to dhamma or kasra would change the meaning. ضرب زيد عمرا, which means Zaid hit Amr. And if you had to say ضرب زيدا عمرٌ, which means Amr hit Zaid. Notice how completely the tables turn. Can you see? So I just want you to be aware of this slowly, that you're starting to understand that your sentence structure, you've got a sentence that only has or starts with an ism, a noun, and it has its rules for it. Then you've got those that start with a verb, and they've got their rules for it. And when we have ones with verbs especially, then you've got a fa'il, you've got a doer, and that doer has always got to, the more correct word to say is it's always got to be marfu'. Marfu' means in the condition of raf'. Raf' refers to something having dhamma or its equivalent substitute. So you learn later on that dhamma, it could have substitutes. So for example, the word abuka, even though it's from Asma'ul Khamsa, you would find that Abu here would mean Abuka, your father. It's marfu' because of the waw and not necessarily because of the dhamma. Do you understand? And abaka and abika, that will go on later. I know I'm going a little bit deep. I'm jumping the gun. In a nutshell, what I want you to know is that these sentences, when they get into verbs, you've got the doer of that action and you've got the one whom it's being done to. Slowly, with that concept in mind, inshallah, the role plays as we go further, you're going to get into a little bit more grammar. Also, inshallah, we may stop after like module 4, module 5, maybe at the end of book A. We might stop this book and then we'll go on to our grammar, polish up our grammar, and then we'll come back to the next book because they all go together and all go in sync. You can't learn one without the other. Personally, I feel it's important to start learning and vocab and being able to talk, and eventually you polish up. You learn and you make your mistakes while you're learning, and you correct your mistakes. Anything you'd like to ask, Sheikh? Any question?
No question, Sheikh. Alhamdulillah.
Did you understand this last part about fi'l?
Alhamdulillah, yeah, I understood. Yeah, the fi'l, fa'il, and maf'ul, subject, verb, and object.
Right. And then also you take later on the fi'l itself, right? Have you not noticed the fact that, for example, yusalli sounds very different to the word yastayqidhu? Have you not noticed that?
Yes, I've noticed this.
So later on they'll tell you, or we'll go through, it's called a wazn. A wazn literally means a weight. So yadribu is on the wazn yaf'alu. Okay, you'll take this later. And yastayqidhu, right? Anything with a sin and has that type of structure generally has a meaning of seeking something, asking for something. From yastaf'ilu, and we'll go into that. That's part of sarf, inshallah. I don't want to confuse you anymore, but inshallah, tomorrow we'll carry on with our module, and slowly we're going to start introducing some nahu, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Barakallahu feekum. Do you remember what I told you about fi?
Yeah, you said to me the fi, after fi, we have to use the kasra.
Kasra on the end, yes.
Kasratain or kasra. Sometimes kasratain, but like you said, kasra will come.
Yes, it has to have kasra, known as majroor, inshallah.
Fi shaqqati.
Yes, you can never say fi shaqqatu or fil masjidu. Never ever. Yalla, we'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Narakum ala khair. Slowly remind
me. Maybe tomorrow you can revise the marfu', the marfu'. I'm a little bit confused. The marfu' which you discussed. I will watch the video. Maybe it will help me. But if you can revise it.
No problem, inshallah. What you've got to realize is that these things at the beginning, there's some people who grasp it immediately. Some people need to go over it. Some people, you need to mention this and you need to confuse them, but it pricks their brain and gets their brain into action. Their brain now starts thinking, okay, there's something called maf'ul bi. I don't understand it, but it's there. There's something called fa'il. And then second time around when you take it, and even if you take it after a longer time, things start making sense. And that happened to me when I went to Medina first, and I didn't know much fiqh and much Arabic, to be honest, much Arabic. And the durus were in Arabic. And our sheikh, when he was teaching at the time, he was in the books of mu'amalat. So they were talking about things like salam and things like said, and after that, qada, jinayat. etc. And you're hearing all these words, and this I'm talking about 11 years ago. I heard the word salam, I heard the word, so many different words. I was still learning how to speak Arabic. I didn't know. But later on, when I took those abwab and those chapters, because I was exposed to those words and I had a slight understanding, it made it easy. So second time round, third time round, sometimes fourth time round, and then you understand, inshallah. Barakallah feekum. Inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow, Sheikh. Ya manillah.
السلام عليكم.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.